Hello and welcome to Unka Bean's Games Lab. I'm Unka Bean and today we're going to be looking at Plague Inc. Evolved, the game where you try to infect and take over the world. So we're at the point where you name the plague. I've named mine Kleptomaniaceae. And actually what I should do is go back and show you what I've done to set it up. I'm using Metabolic Hijack, which the orange and red bubbles that give you DNA are automatically popped for you. This is just quick and easy, I'm lazy. I chose Darwinist, which increases the chance of your plague mutating. Then we went with Aerocyte, increased chance of plague spreading by air. Then we went Extremophile, which gives your plague a minor bonus in all environments. And finally, the Ionized Helic, which gives you bonus DNA when evolving. Because sometimes it evolves at something you're not quite ready for. Okay, we've named the virus Kleptomaniaceae, and welcome to Plague Inc. You are a new bacteria. To win, you must evolve and spread across the world, wiping out all humans in the ultimate plague. Let's see if we can do it. Select a start location. Select a country to begin your plague. When you click on it, you can see more information. Pop the start bubble to confirm, or click on another country instead. Well, I like Egypt because it has 2 seaports and 1 airport. And it seems like a good breeding ground for bacteria, all those mummies running around. Kleptomaniaceae begins in Egypt. Kleptomaniaceae has infected its first human. Shouldn't have been checking around the mummies' tombs. Weak, but used to hot temperature, it must evolve using DNA points to infect more people. And that's one of the red bubbles that it pops, giving me DNA, which is down here in the left-hand corner. Now we're going to need a couple DNA before I bring up and show you what the evolution looks like. Tip: pop orange DNA bubbles to get DNA points. Pop orange DNA bubbles when they randomly appear to get bonus DNA points, which you can use to evolve your disease. Yes, those are very handy to have. And now that we have 8, we're going to start moving on with infection. Here we have our evolution history. We've done nothing. Here we have our transmission. We can currently go by blood, our livestock. We're not going to worry about that. We're going to start our infection the other way. We have nausea, which irritates the stomach and gets infectious when kissing. We've got coughing, which is a good way to start an infection. And we got the skin becomes blistered and painful, slightly increasing it, but we want it to be subtle. So we're going to go with a cough. And down on the bottom, we have insomnia, which makes people irritable and less productive. Cysts, which form painful lumps. And burst, which can help spread the disease. And anemia in red blood cells or hemoglobin in the blood can lead to hypoxia in the organs. That seems a bit deadly to start with. And finally, we have the abilities. Cold temperatures, hot temperatures, drug resistance, and slow down research. And finally, this gives it a bacterial shell to protect against all climates. That gives you the basics. You have successfully evolved Kleptomaniaceae. You have spent DNA points to evolve your disease, and more options have opened up. Get more points by popping DNA and biohazard bubbles and infecting people. Well, we're currently at 6 infected, and that will grow much quicker very quickly. Tip: think what would happen in real life. Plague Inc. is a hyper-realistic model of the world. Plan your strategy and evolve your disease accordingly by spending DNA points. Well, we need a few more before we can spend them, so let's see how this goes. You can click on a country and see your infection rate. USA, infected 0, dead 0. We don't want to kill anybody yet. Kleptomaniaceae begins to spread. Kleptomaniaceae is spreading from person to person in Egypt and will grow exponentially. You control the plague indirectly by evolving it. Yes, you do. Go back to Egypt, and you can see we've now infected 32 people and growing. The more people you infect, the faster it grows. We're up to 8 DNA points, which means we can harden the bacterial shell by 1 mark. That'll give it a little more survivability in all climates, which I think is pretty important in this game. You want survivability. You want to get infectivity first. You start with infectivity and you're going to succeed. You don't want the death toll to start rising or they start researching quicker. Country information. To find out more about a country, click the country name at the bottom of the screen to open the country menu. Alright, let's do that. Egypt. Business as usual. 100% are healthy. Infected 179, so I guess it's 99.9. This tells you up here the borders are open, seaports are open, and the airports are open. This tells you things about the government. When it goes into anarchy, they'll tell you that. Research ranking in countries. And this shows you the country, how far you've infected it. So far we've just spread out a little bit. And this just gives you a little view of the country. Now here you go into the world view. This shows you the countries that are infected, the countries that are not infected, and the countries that are wiped out and dead. This is your healthy population, your infected population, your dead population. Research status, nothing's happening. Key research contributors, and research priorities. And this shows you all the borders that are open and all the borders that are closed. As you can see on the top, 58 are open, 31 are open, and 20 are open. On the bottom, none of them are closed. Once you start spreading your disease too far, they will start closing them. And then it's harder to get in. Kleptomaniaceae has infected hundreds in Egypt, increasing the chance an infected person will infect a healthy person. Keep evolving your disease. Well, I kind of plan to. Back up to 9 DNA points. And that makes 12. Now that we can start getting into transmission. Now birds travel across country. I like to get them going early. But I like to get the water one because that is when you travel onto ships. I have 2 seaports. So having the pathogen survive in fresh, warm water increases infectivity, especially in humid environments and ship transmission. So soon I will have little ships of infected people traveling off to infect other countries. And that is a good thing. Okay, let's see how we're doing. We've got 2,900 infected. DNA bubbles are popping. We're up to 13. Let's start going with birds. Little buggers fly across land borders. And you might get lucky and get a bird migration event which spreads them all over the map. Kleptomaniaceae infects thousands. Kleptomaniaceae has infected thousands in Egypt. People are being infected faster and faster. Excellent. This is what we want. We're up to 13,000 infected now. The DNA bubbles keep popping. Soon we'll be able to do another evolve. And now we've spread to Libya. Libya has been infected. Your disease has taken an important step in becoming a plague. When a new country is infected, pop the red bubble to get bonus DNA. I don't need to worry about that. It popped automatically. Oh, and look at that. It just spread a couple of new countries. Kleptomaniaceae is infecting more countries. Control where it goes by evolving transmission traits in the disease menu. Well, we're up to 8. We need a few more. There we go. We're up to 10. Sneezing symptom mutated. Kleptomaniaceae has mutated and developed the sneezing symptom without using DNA points. Sneezing is a good one. That increases infectivity without causing fatality. And that's exactly what you want. You want to be very infectious in the beginning. Okay, let's see where we can go next. Let's get on airplanes. Pathogens, the ability to travel on dust particles, increase infectivity, especially in arid environments and plane transmission. Now that will get our airplanes traveling with infected people soon. And there goes our first infected ship. New Zealand Center of Magnetic Field Shift. A recent fluctuation in the Earth's magnetic field is claimed by scientists to be strong enough to be harnessed by New Zealand as a source of power. Well, that's good news. And our first infected ship just hit the USA. Medicine in USA is slowing the infection. USA is a wealthy country with high quality healthcare. To spread faster, you may need to involve the drug resistance ability. Okay, we're going to need more DNA for that. And there goes another infected ship right along the bottom. More infectious than TB. Kleptomaniaceae has infected more people in the world than TB. It is a very infectious disease. Well, we're off to a good start. If we're more infectious than TB, we're doing good. I see Egypt is just piling on the bodies there. We've almost infected the whole country. World menu contains useful data. Yes, it does. I've showed you that. We can use the world data menu, bottom right, to see which countries are not infected yet. Well, unfortunately, most of them. Pop red bubbles to get DNA points. I don't need to read that one. All right. We are up to 23. Let's start looking at some symptoms. Let's make people less productive. And let's make them paranoid so they're less likely to go see a doctor. We don't want that. That can be fatal. But let's add this one. Stomach diarrhea. Vomiting. Increase infection. There you go. So we've increased their inability. They're less productive and more irritable. They have irrational delusions and mental symptoms, making them not want to see a doctor. They have vomiting and they have nausea. They also have coughing and sneezing. And sneezing greatly increases the infection rate, so I'm glad they chose that one to upgrade. More infectious than HIV. Kleptomaniacia has infected more people in the world than HIV. It is an extremely infectious disease. Well, we're moving right up there. New minor disease spreading. In a normal checkup, a doctor in Egypt found a new disease which has been named kleptomaniacia. It appears to be mostly harmless, but must be investigated further. Other countries are also reporting this disease. So they've just found us. The CDC has just went, oh, there's a new disease in town. Let's see what it's doing. And since our little infection rate is so minor in the world scale, we do not want to start death yet. Egypt is first to instruct doctors to begin research into a cure for kleptomaniacia. Without greater funding, it is expected to take a long time. And in the beginning it does, which is really nice. Okay, we're up to 83 million infected in the world. As you can see, I told you it does actually grow quite quick. Now let's see. Diarrhea. Oh yeah, let's add diarrhea. That's always fun. Pathogen active in digestive tract, causing infection through feces and potentially lethal dehydration. Poor countries very vulnerable. So now we've got sneezing, coughing, diarrhea. They're not going to be happy. It's going to be a messy world. I feel really sorry for Egypt right now because I think almost everybody has it. First death in Egypt from kleptomaniacia. Bad luck or the beginning of something terrible. Oh, that's right. Diarrhea can cause death, but in small doses. Alright, well, I kind of don't want to devolve that, so we're going to let the small death toll take its toll. We're popping up all over the world, which is really good. We want that. Okay, now let's add a few things. When we hit Greenland, we're going to need to be ready. And there is the drug resistance right there. This will make the USA more vulnerable. Now, we've already added the first bacterial shell, which adds climate resistance. Now we've added one cold climate resistance and one heat climate resistance. So it will now spread better in hot and cold environments. And it's, we developed seizures. Well, that's going to start getting the death toll a little higher than I want. So we are going to get rid of that. Excuse me. Okay, yeah, I think we're going to let our DNA points grow for a little bit. Okay, countries are popping all over. Well, another neat little thing is you can zoom in on the world if you want. And it gives you a nice little topographical view. You can actually check out the countries, you can see everything on there. Ranges of mountains. Saudi Arabia has shut down airports. Saudi Arabia has become the first country to try to limit the spread of kleptomaniacia by limiting access into and out of the country. Time will tell if this will work. And then you just zoom back out and you've got the whole world again. Alright, well, we're up to 29. Let's get some more transmission going. Phase 2 of the birds will get the birds attacking everything, which is really good because that'll help spread across land borders. And for symptoms, let's develop the cysts. They burst and they can spread the disease as well. Kleptomaniaceae has infected more people in the world than the common cold. It is the ultimate infectious disease. Well, we're doing really good. We're better than the common cold. That's a pretty high infection rate. I think everybody gets cold. And we are still growing, populating. All these red lines are now infected airways and seaways. Oops! Symptom combo. Sneezing and diarrhea are causing unwanted accidents, lowering productivity and drawing attention to kleptomaniaceae. Well, at this point, I think we're about ready. So let's go to abilities. We're going to slow down cure research. And we're going to do drug resistance to 3 and 4 antibiotics. So we are now resistant to all antibiotics. Once they start getting up there in cure research, you're going to want a genetic reshuffle, which drops it back about 3 to 4%. So right now it'd be useless. It would go from 1 back to 0. Okay, how are we doing? Oh, we just got the Philippines. Nice. Anemia symptom mutated. Kleptomaniaceae has mutated and developed the anemia symptom without using DNA points. Okay, so we've got anemia. Our infection is getting really high up there in the world. Now it's time to start egging on transmission and symptoms. Okay, I've just infected rodents as well. Kleptomaniaceae has been placed on the watch list. Kleptomaniaceae has been placed on the WHO watch list. Already dangerous, governments are warned that it could become unstoppable. Well, that is my goal. If I can just get Greenland, that is always the toughest one to infect. This is why I always go for the birds. The birds are my best hope for infecting Greenland. Russia leading global cure effort. Russia has started to send research teams to infected countries hoping to speed up development of a cure for kleptomaniaceae. Pop blue bubbles to destroy their research. Okay, well when they start popping up, we'll do that. Those we have to pop. Tip, pop blue cure bubbles to stop cure speeding up. Blue cure bubbles appear when a research team from Russia finds something. Pop them to destroy their research and stop the cure from speeding up. Abscessus symptom mutated. Kleptomaniaceae has mutated and developed the abscessus symptom without using DNA points. Now, abscessus help spread it a lot quicker as well. Okay, as we can see, Greenland is still open for business. They haven't shut their seaport yet. There are 2 ways to fight development of the cure. Evolve aggressive symptoms to destroy countries, more noticeable, or evolve cure resistance, less noticeable. Well, we've got 24. Can we get the next cure resistance? Not quite. We need 24, and that needs 28. So I think we'll just wait for that, and we'll slow the cure research down a little bit that way as well. Let's see, our mortality rate is doing good. We've infected most. Greenland just got infected. Excellent. That makes me very happy. Pulmonary edema symptom mutated. Kleptomaniaceae has mutated and developed the pulmonary edema system without using DNA points. Ooh. Okay, and here we are. We're going to do that. So pathogens does not reproduce in lab conditions, decreases future research speed. So that will slow our research down a little bit more. Keep popping those blue cure bubbles. We don't want them coming up. Global research focused on cure. Research doctors all around the world are completely focused on developing a cure for kleptomaniaceae. Well, good luck with that. I think the world's in pretty dire shape. Now let's see, we've got 29, so let's start developing some more symptoms. Where can we go that's a little deadly but not too deadly? Actually, I want to save up for that. Total organ failure. Once we get Greenland killed more than the Black Death. New statistics show that kleptomaniacia has killed over 75 million people worldwide, worse than the Black Death. That's pretty good numbers. The cure for kleptomaniacia is 25% complete. Well, since we're saving up our infectability and our DNA, kleptomaniacia has developed the fever symptom without using DNA points. Well, fever symptom will slowly kill, so that's not too bad. Keep those blue DNAs popping. See, Brazil mobilizes infectious disease teams. Good to know. And how is we doing here? I've now killed more than the Spanish flu. New statistics show that kleptomaniacia has killed over 120 million people worldwide, worse than the Spanish flu. News at 11. Okay, we have now hit the infected mark where it's really going to start going nuts in Greenland. So now I think it's time to develop total organ failure. People are going to start dying left, right, and center. Oh, I got it. Barely. I wasn't watching. Let's look at Greenland's infection rate. Kleptomaniacia has mutated and developed the coma symptom without using DNA points. Well, coma is good. That's really going to slow things down. New statistics show that kleptomaniacia is the deadliest plague ever. It has killed over 300 million people worldwide, worse than smallpox. Well, I've done well. I've created the deadliest plague ever. I like that. Let's see where this goes from here. South Africa begins to break down. Normal life in South Africa is beginning to break down due to kleptomaniacia. Cure research is starting to slow. Excellent. They're at 44%, so I'm not too worried about that. And our world population seems to be down to Greenland. Let's see if anybody else is. Nope, everybody is infected. Iceland and Greenland are the last two that are not completely infected. But they are infected and on their way. Let's see, how's Greenland doing? Iceland, I mean. People are dying in Iceland faster than the new people are being infected. Well, that's okay. They're still getting infected rather quick. The cure for kleptomaniacia is 50% complete. Well, we've got 80 research points. Let's slow this down a bit. That's going to slow things down right there. From 51 to 40. We just threw him a genetic twist. Okay, Iceland is almost completely infected. Japan is in anarchy. Japan is first to fall into anarchy due to kleptomaniacia. No cure research can take place. That's going to slow things down nicely. Oh, I see somebody's still open for business. Got to keep popping them blue cure bubbles. There we go, another 2 down. And Iceland is... There are no healthy people left in the world. The last healthy person on the planet recently became infected with kleptomaniacia. And what that means is it's time to go ballistic. Let's drop in some other symptoms. Paralysis. Pathogen destroys motor neurons to cause paralysis. Significantly harder to cure and can be lethal. Pathogen affects multiple organs and tissue types, causing body-wide infections that spread fast and can be fatal. Scarring of the lungs causes shortness of breath and extreme coughing, can be fatal when combined with intense exercise. Let's see. Random blackouts and fits reduce a patient's ability to function independently, can be fatal. There we go. Now we've just totally upped our death rate. And let's see how the world population is doing. And it looks like we are about done. Kleptomaniacia genome fully sequenced. Kleptomaniacia had its genome fully sequenced by scientists, who researchers say that this breakthrough will help cure efforts. I think you're a little late, Sparky. There's 253 million people left on the planet and they're dying quickly. And you're at 44% chance of a cure. Let's just throw in another one. What was that? Breakdown in the epidermis can cause large open wounds which significantly increase infectivity. We don't need infectivity. Everybody's infected and dying. Trying to get more cure in there. It's not going to happen on my watch. Alright. I see in the news headline, governments are falling left, right, and center. And the USA just went down. 2 million left. And they're still fighting valiantly for the cure. Not going to happen on my watch. Kleptomaniacia to destroy humanity. Kleptomaniacia has destroyed the world despite the world's best efforts. The last few humans know they are watching the end of history. Down to 300,000 and down to 100,000. The last few humans are crawling around in their caves and decimated cities. Hemophilia symptom mutated. Kleptomaniacia has mutated and developed the hemophilia symptom without using DNA points. And 3,000 people left. And there we go. That's the end of the world as we know it. Kleptomaniacia has successfully eliminated all life on Earth. And then at the end you get this nice little playthrough that shows you fast forward how fast you take over the world, where you spread, what you do. You see the score on the side. Took me 505 days. Genetic complexity, cure progress got to 45%. Game type, main game. Difficulty was casual. Plague type was bacteria. Total score 5,310. So that's where we're going to call it for this episode. We've done the bacteria. Next episode we're going to move on to what is next. Let's find out. Main game. Play. Next game, we're going to play the virus. Okay, so this is Unka Bean saying we'll talk to you next episode. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you again soon. Stay caffeinated, my friends.